Morning, my name's Andy Freeman and this is this week's Shhh, and we're going to be spending 15 minutes today thinking about the theme of nature. The writer Sylvia Plath said this in a book called The Bell Jar. I felt my lungs inflate with the onrush of scenery, air, mountains, trees, people. I thought, this is what it is to be happy. Nature, the outdoors, the environment has this incredible capacity to inspire, and so we're going to be spending our time reflecting on that today. And to begin today, I just want you to close your eyes and imagine an outdoor scene that makes you feel at peace. To begin, to settle yourself. It might be a garden, it might be a favourite place that you walk. It might be by the sea, it might be on a mountain, it might be a place where you go running or you go on holiday. So just take your time to imagine that scene and imagine yourself being part of that scene without your to-do list, without all the things that are going on today. Just for this 15 minutes, you can take an imaginary break. And in that place, just find yourself at peace. Allow all the things that are kind of worrying you or that you're carrying today just to drop off, just for 15 minutes. You can pick them back up later. But allow yourself just to settle. Imagine yourself taking in this space that you're in, resting. Allow all the, we've described before, all the concerns that you have just settling, not whizzing around anymore. You can slow down. And in that space, just begin to consider how you are today. And to be mindful and aware of yourself. Just take some time to be with you. Imagine that place of peace, of calm, and allow yourself to be in it for this short time. The poet Keats said this: the poetry of the earth is never dead. There's something extraordinary about the earth, the environment, nature, to just continually amaze us, whether it's seeing something new that you've never seen before, or whether it's the familiar and the beautiful. I remember once, maybe 10, 15 years ago, visiting the west coast of America, visiting friends called Amy and Casey, and they took me to a place called Cambria on the Californian coast, and there on the beach every February hundreds of elephant seals come up onto the sand to have babies and to look after their young. And it was an incredible thing to see. These amazing, strong, huge animals caring for young pups. Never seen anything like it. It was extraordinary. It took my breath away. But then I live in Sheffield and very close to the peaks and beautiful countryside that I'm very comfortable and familiar with, and yet always has the capacity to take my breath away. There's a drive I do over the peaks into Derbyshire most weeks, and the scenery is incredibly familiar. Yet the changes, the beauty of it, often leaves me speechless. The poetry of the earth is never dead. And one of the things we can take from nature is this ability for it to inspire us, feed us through wonder, through this sense of being amazed, being at awe, being captivated. The hairs of on the back of your neck standing on end. It feeds your soul, whatever you think that is. We talk about the soul as the non-material self, but it is also very material. It's very physical. It's that stuff you can't see on an X-ray, but that makes you weep at a beautiful piece of music, or the birth of a child, or makes you overwhelmed with emotion at different times. It speaks into that, and that's so important for how you are as a person. And there are 3 simple steps that we encourage to captivate and to cultivate wonder in your life. The first one is to stop. To take time to stop. Get off the treadmill and to stop. And then the second one is to see things. To actively look for things. And to do that, you need to be curious, and you need to foster that sense of childlike curiosity that we sometimes lose, but that is so important to us. It asks why, it looks at things and wonders. Let me give you an example. Sitting in my garden, and this is a tomato plant grown from a seed. And I love growing things because just that process of I've planted something in the ground and this is what emerges, and then fruit will come from it. It's extraordinary. Taking in this plant makes us realize that something special happens as nature goes through the seasons and grows. We know that when we plant this seed in the spring, in the summer, a plant will grow. Not always. There are things you've got to do to make it work, but there's the expectation of that, and fruit will emerge. But then there's also something incredible, the texture of the leaves. And if you've ever taken the time to feel the texture of the leaves of a tomato plant, they are odd, they're slightly hairy, they're different. The structure and the different shapes. And then even if you get down into the earth, you can see a little tiny ant carrying a huge weight on its back, wandering through the plant. And these things can be gifts to us, to our imagination, as we begin to think about things. They can be pictures to us of how we might feel, but then they can just be beautiful in their own right. And that beauty can inspire us, overwhelm us. I want to encourage you this week to get a little bit of time in nature and to go and do that, to stop, to see, and to be curious. We're going to show just a little bit of footage now of outdoors just to help you do that, and just look for things. Look for things that surprise you. Be curious. If you see something that interests you, Google it, read an encyclopedia, find out about it. Ask questions. Or just be captivated by things that don't normally surprise you. There's another side, another piece of learning about nature. Robert Frost wrote this: "Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold, her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour, then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. We know that as we go through the seasons, the next one will come. We know that nature is days of sunshine, but also days of storms. And that can teach us so much about our own life. In her book on death and dying, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross says this: "Should you shield the canyons from windstorms, you would never see the beauty of their carvings." And there is this difficult, terrible, hard life lesson that we all experience, that bad things can happen. And that we shouldn't be surprised by them, and that they're not unfair. They're not nice, they're horrible, always. Difficult times are difficult. But within them, there are always things that enable us to see the next step, and nature lives that way. After autumn and winter comes spring. As Kubler-Ross says, the windstorms carve out the canyons. Seeds falling to the ground and producing more trees, fruit, plants. This process goes on, and it can teach us so much about the rhythms of life, that there will be times of winter and hibernation, and there will be times of growth. There will be times of sunshine and times of rain, but that we know that the rain doesn't stay forever. And we also can be aware to enjoy these moments, because we know that the sunshine also doesn't stay forever. We can learn lessons from nature that can teach us. This is part of what Keats called the poetry of the earth. So to finish, I'd like you to reflect on the seasons. If you feel like you're in a winter time right now, remember that spring is coming. And if you feel like life is good and summer's here, enjoy it. Because you know it probably doesn't last forever. But in the same way, you can be confident it will come again. And through all of these seasons, things happen. Nothing is wasted. Winter is not a wasted season. I know when I plant bulbs in the ground in October, they will work and grow in the earth so that by January, February, March, they'll begin to come out as daffodils, tulips. I'm amazed that plants that I plant and that die down in winter seem to come back to life in the spring. And so can we. And so can we in our lives. So use that fragility and the poetry of nature to help you consider where you are right now, what life has for you. Take some time to reflect now as we play some music, and then we'll draw the meditation to a close. The poetry of the earth is never dead. We hope we can take some inspiration from the wonder of nature today, but also from its metaphor of the different seasons that we learn and enjoy. We hope you're well, we hope you're safe. Take care of yourself and those around you, and we'll see you again next week with another Shhh. Bye-bye.